Hi there, welcome to another episode of Galaxy Gardens. My name is Chrissy. Today I have a bunch of stuff on the docket, but the number one thing we're going to be focusing on is making ground beef jerky. Now I already made some yesterday. I made a honey mustard IPA blend, which I thought I put too much seasoning in, and it came out pretty mild, honestly. So today we're going to switch it up. We're going to be doing a maple flavor as well as a spicy teriyaki. We're gonna do this in two parts because it's gonna take about, say 4 to 5 hours in the dehydrator for each batch. So that'll give me plenty of time to do the other stuff I have to do today, which is hopefully making jam, hopefully making some more bagels, hopefully making some baguettes. We'll see how that goes. I could show you those at the end. But really excited to share this recipe with you. The first batch came out fantastic, and I'm hoping these next two come out solid as well. So let's get into it. A bit of a close-up here for you. So for this first batch, we're going to start with the maple one. We're going to do a maple brown sugar flavor. And we have our ground beef here. It's about 88% lean. Ideally, you want 90 to 95% lean ground beef for this. This is the closest I could get that I could find at any of the stores around us. So this is what we got. Wouldn't say it's the best quality, but it's what we have nearby, so that's what we're using. So we have 2 pounds for this recipe, and what we're going to do is we're going to add in our flavorings. So to start off, we're going to use a 1/2 cup of brown sugar. Let's put that in there. If you don't have brown sugar at home, if you have molasses, like we have our sorghum molasses still from the other year, and some white sugar, if you just put, it's like a tablespoon or 1/2 tablespoon of molasses per, I think, cup of white sugar, you can make your own brown sugar. But we're just putting a 1/2 cup in there. And then for the maple syrup, if I can get this open, there we go. We're just gonna do a 1/4 cup. And this is our maple syrup that we made in, I believe, 2023. Still kicking. We actually have, I think, like 1 or 2 more jars of it. But I was considering doing more this year. It's just we've had kind of a warm winter. I don't know what the trees are doing, but I don't have to think about it for a couple weeks at least. Now, you can leave this here if you want to, which I'm going to do just to help for preservation, is I'm going to add in just a 1/4 teaspoon of prog powder. And this is a salt that you use for curing meat generally, but it is nitrate, so you don't add too much. Generally, for every pound of meat you have, doesn't matter if this is ground or not, you can do a 1/4 teaspoon. So technically for 2 pounds here, I could add in 1/2 teaspoon. I'm not going to do that though, because the sugar and the maple syrup are going to act as preservatives as well. So I'm just going to do a little bit for flavor. Now that's pretty much it. So I'm actually going to put on a glove for this, and we're going to mix it up. And I already have everything else ready to go. We have our trays, which I'm putting parchment paper on. When I made this yesterday, I used this kind of tray and a flat tray. But there is enough fat in here that's gonna come out. So I found with the parchment paper, it kind of soaks up the fat a little bit better. So we're just gonna do that. So we're gonna give this a mix. We're gonna mix it really well. Just think like if you're making meatballs. And when we're done, over here, I have my cutting board and a rolling pin. And we're gonna roll this out as thin as possible because this is the kind of jerky that I like. I really like thin, super crispy jerky. And that's why we're gonna have it in the dehydrator for as long as we do. So I'm gonna finish this up, get it mixed. If you're not too worried about your meat source as you go through, you can kind of like taste it, make sure you seasoned it appropriately with enough of what you need. If you don't, just stick to a recipe that tells you how much to add per pound, and you'll probably be safe there. So let me get this all mixed. We'll be right back. We have some barbecue sauce back there. Greg's gonna make some baby back ribs today. Those might make it into here too because he makes some mean ribs. I'll tell you, he's smoking them. Whew. We got this all mixed. Now, most of the time, if you're seeing somebody make jerky from a ground meat, whether that's beef, venison, or something else, they usually have what's called a jerky gun. And it's kind of like one of those like cookie guns where you put everything in a tube and there's like a little slit at the end and you can get these perfect lines. We don't have that. I have enough kitchen gadgets. We're not buying one. This is going to be super easy. I did this yesterday and I actually want to show you the ones that I made yesterday. I'm not going to do it that way this time. So yesterday I made a bunch of strips, which was fine. It was a little time consuming. But there is a couple jerky brands I like that make like wider chunks. So that's what we're going to do today. Let me go ahead. I'm going to find my bag of jerky from yesterday. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So you can see here, I just have little strips. Look at that. And there's a little bit of fat left on it. Oop, there you go. There's a little bit of fat that stayed on it. This is why we're gonna use the parchment paper this time. But we're not doing strips today. We're gonna be doing a different kind. It's pretty good though. For this next step, I'm just using a cutting board. We don't need anything on it. It's not gonna stick. This is best done when your meat is still cold. So this is still very cold. As it starts warming up, it gets a little trickier to work with. So just know that. If you need to, when you're doing this, you can just pop it in the fridge in between. So this is the, I don't have extra equipment method to making jerky. Okay, so we're gonna put our parchment paper on top. I'm gonna press it down. And then I just have my rolling pin. If you don't have a rolling pin, honestly, any other cylindrical object you can roll out is good. And you want this to be about 1/4 inch thick. I go a little bit thinner than that because, like I said, I really like thin, crispy jerky. And I'm not worrying about shape here. If that's something really important to you, you can shape it the way you want, but I'm not worried about it. Ooh. Okay, that's pretty thin. Let's check this out. All right. So over here, a little bit thicker. That's all we're doing, all right? Got it on the cutting board. This one's a little close to the edge. We're just gonna put that back. All right, same here, it's a little bit close to the edge. We're just gonna put that back. This is pretty easy. So you can take the time, make your little strips, that's fine. I'm gonna do little chunky ones. So I'm using a sharp knife for this because although this beef has been ground and I did kind of mash it together, it still likes to stay joined. And I'm just gonna cut this into quarters so I can get nice, large pieces. And we're making jerky here, okay? It's not rocket science. We don't need it to be exact unless you want to. Maybe you're gifting this to someone and you want it to be pretty. Sure. Okay, now we're getting it up. It doesn't really stick to the cutting board, but you know. Okay, I say as it sticks to the cutting board. So we have our piece here, okay? Nice and flat. We're just gonna put it on our tray. That's pretty much it. You see? So we're gonna take all these. We're gonna get it off of the cutting board. I think I did these a little bit thinner than I was aiming for. Okay, you see how that bunched up? Watch this. Watch this. Ta-da! Oh, came apart again. Yeah, we're just gonna put this on the cutting board. And we're gonna put it on our tray. And because it's ground beef, it's very forgiving. Your seasoning's already mixed in. You don't have to worry about marinating this for like 24 to 48 hours because it's already tenderized. I'll show you with the next recipe, but if you wanted to tenderize it some more, just add a little vinegar. And maybe not for a maple brown sugar variety, but other ones. When I was doing this yesterday and I had strips, which I'll just show you one right now. Get around. Okay, see? Watch this. This is why it's very important to do this when your meat's cold. Okay, you see how that bunched up? Watch this. Watch this. You can just press it back out. Yeah, it's not that serious. Okay, so I'm gonna go through this and put my trays into my dehydrator as we go. But like everything else you're making, you don't have to be an expert to do it. You can just do it, and it's gonna taste good. So this is that first batch. You can see how thin it is. And I mean, look at it. It came out great. So these are gonna cook down in the dehydrator and get very, very thin. This is about the thickness I did for the ones I made yesterday. That's pretty much it. Now, if you want, if you're like, I'm looking at this, I don't know about that. I don't know if I can do that. You can put parchment paper down, wax paper down. You can put a little oil or grease on here if you want, if you don't want it to stick. It's a little warm in here this morning. When I was doing this last night with the other batch, it was a lot cooler. So I didn't have any issues with it sticking to the cutting board. It was pretty easy. Again, when I did this yesterday, it was also a 2-pound batch. What took the longest was cutting everything into strips. I think start to finish to like getting the dehydrator on, it was about 45 minutes to an hour. With this, because we're doing big chunks, this is gonna take me like less than 20 minutes to do. I'll get the dehydrator on and then I can just move on with my day. I love like just the big chunks of jerky. I think they're great. There's nothing wrong with strips of jerky. I mean, that's fine, but do what you want. You can make them into shapes if you want, it doesn't matter. It's just meat. You can do whatever you want with it. I timed it. We got everything done in 30 minutes, so now it's in the dehydrator. We just need to program it so I can clean up and start making some other stuff. All right, so 2 pounds gives me 5 racks. There's 7 racks in there, but we'll just wait and do the other one afterwards. For beef, you want to get it to 165 at least. If you go on the internet, you're going to find a bunch of different temperature ranges for this. this is what I'm doing for this specific dehydrator. So we're gonna do 5 hours, okay, at 165. And that's it. So I'll come check on this. It will start changing color pretty fast, but it won't get crispy until we get to about that 5 hour point. And we'll just see how it does. If you don't have a dehydrator, you can do the same thing in your oven. Just make sure the temperature is low. I would do, I don't know, maybe somewhere between 160, 165. And just check on it after like 2 or 3 hours to see where it's at. Just because, you know, dehydrator's gonna run a little bit differently than your oven does. I don't want you to burn your stuff, but you can definitely dehydrate it in your oven. I just scrubbed the heck out of this kitchen island, but pretty much what I need to do now is, oh, look at those bubbles. Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna try to make some baguettes, and actually I should probably take this out too. Yeah, I made a double batch of bagel. Oh my Lord, that's freaking huge. Oh, some of it touched I gotta cut that off. Some of it touched the foil and it kind of made a battery, so I'm just gonna cut that off. But I made a double batch of bagel dough. Yeah, so I'm gonna get to working on this. This is not a baking tutorial kind of day. Yeah, we're gonna see how this goes. I've never made baguettes before. But we got about 4 hours, 45 minutes left until the jerky should be ready, so I got some time. Greg is home and he's going to get the ribs started. I think we have 3 racks of ribs. So I'm gonna bring it over to him and he can show you what his recipe is.
All right, so while we're waiting for the jerky, we're gonna make some ribs. I got 3 racks of baby back ribs here. Was just super excited. We bought these at Costco and I just noticed that they already have the membranes ripped off. That's usually my least favorite part. So thank you, Costco, for doing that for us. So usually what I do to start is actually a little trick I picked up. Mustard, yellow mustard. This is just generic yellow mustard. It's a really good binder for the dry rub. So I'm gonna start by just putting some mustard on these ribs. Make sure that gets nice and evenly coated on here. We got the grill. So we've got a charcoal smoker out back. It's a Gravity Series Masterbuilt, so it's about as close to plug and play as you can get with a charcoal smoker. All right, so we got that. I'm gonna get this stuff all dirty with mustard. We'll rinse it off afterward. This is a dry rub that it's a combination of cayenne pepper and onion powder, garlic powder. There's some celery salt, black peppers, brown sugar. There's actually, this recipe called for a little bit of white sugar too, but it's mostly brown sugar. And also quite a bit of paprika in this. Needs a little bit more. Boy, I'm making a mess out of everything right now. That's okay, that's what barbecuing's all about.
And they already had the membrane off them, right?
Yeah, the membrane was already taken off. I was about to take it off myself, and the nice folks at Costco must be doing that for us. Or honestly, that's probably at the meat packaging plant. I shouldn't be giving Costco credit for that. Stuff looked like it was packed already. All right. There we go. Let's do the other side.
It's gonna be a lot of ribs.
Yeah, I thought this was only 2 when we bought it, and it's actually 3. So the good thing about smoked ribs is that they last quite a while, but we'll probably have to give these away to some of our friends too. Sure, they won't mind.
Well, you're gonna have to twist their arm to take some free ribs. Jeez.
Yeah, that's the thing is people usually really like these ribs the way. We've got a tried and true method. It's actually by no means something I came up with by myself. It's a pretty common recipe. And I've heard plenty of barbecue guru type people like trash this. So, I don't claim to be like the biggest expert ever, but we make smoked food a lot and it comes out good. People who come over and eat it like it. I like it. I know that everyone's kind of got their opinion, but we basically do, it's similar to the 3-2-1 method, but for baby back, I can do it more like 2.5, 1/2. So it's like a 4-hour smoke. It's the same concept though. We're gonna smoke them around 225-ish Fahrenheit for about 2.5 hours. And I'm gonna wrap them in butcher paper. I made some sauce yesterday, some nice barbecue sauce, a recipe I've been using for years. And I'm gonna soak them in that while they're in the butcher paper, and then throw them in for about another hour covered, and then uncover them just to kind of crisp it up for maybe another half hour to 45 minutes. So whole thing will take about 4 hours and 15 minutes maybe. Should be pretty easy. So these should be ready to put on the grill. I just got to make sure it's up to temp. So this grill we've had for about 5 years. I don't know, they might have improved it a little bit. This temperature set thing is a little bit off, so I used this as a kind of foolproofer. This is saying that it's cooler than it is. It's saying it's about 197. We want this around 225. So I have this set to like 180. I'm gonna have to play around with it until we get it perfectly, but I'm pretty used to the jankiness of this. So,
Are they gonna fit?
oh yeah, we got plenty of room here. I could probably fit them all on the bottom. This one up here, so they have a little bit more room to breathe. Perfect. All right, we're gonna give this about 2.5 hours. Set the time in. This will start beeping when it's ready.
We have a lot of waiting going on today, but while the ribs are going, and I'm just checking on the jerky, still got a couple hours on that before we put the next batch in. I did bake a bunch of stuff and it came out okay. So I want to show you what it looks like. These are the bagels. They came out fantastic. They're just plain bagels. I put a little pink salt on them, nothing special. And then I tried to make baguettes, and they did cook. When I was putting them in the oven, they went a little bit over the pizza stone, so they smell good. So I hope it tastes good. I'm looking forward to giving them a try. But bagels are gonna be good. Putting together some gifts just for fun. And we'll save a few bagels for ourselves, but I would consider that a success. If you do want to see a video where I make the baguettes, just let me know, and then we can make one. I couldn't help it. I had to coat the little one. Look at the crumb on that. If I had made this a little bit wider, like this one and that one are probably fine. This would be very good for a sandwich. I'm just gonna put some butter on this. The crumb on that's bananas. That's really good. Our 5 hours in the dehydrator is just about up. There's about 2 minutes left. However, I did not account for the sugar in it, so I'm actually gonna put it on for an extra hour. So 6 hours total.
It's been about 2.5 hours since I threw these on. Actually, the grill did a great job of holding them to about 225, 230. Now, we've got let's not make the other paper fall. And some barbecue sauce. This might have been bigger strips of butcher paper than I needed, but I'd rather it be more than less. Coat that up nice and good.
Ooh, look at that char.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be good.
So the whole point of this is you know, you're getting it's gotten kind of barked up a little bit, you know, charred up from being out on the grill with the heat exposed to it. So the idea here is that you get some moisture into it. They'll get a little bit more tender. And then the last step is removing this so they get the bark back on there. Whoops.
Get that one out.
Take the other one out first. Thankfully, it's not that hot in there. I'm gonna do that again with the other two. Yeah, these are a little too big of a butcher paper. You could also use aluminum foil for this. It's cooler to do it with butcher paper, but honestly, I think the result is pretty much the same.
How long are these gonna be in the paper again?
I'm just gonna do it in an hour. Some people would do this for 2, but these are pretty small racks of ribs. I think it'll be fine. Doing it in an hour. This is how I did it the last time I did baby backs, and they came out great.
I know, we've been making St. Louis style for so long. It's nice to have baby back ribs.
Yeah, with the St. Louis style, you can do, I mean, 3-2-1 works okay with those. But yeah, I don't know, these caught my eye in the grocery store yesterday, so here we are.
And so what do you put in your barbecue sauce? This is your special blend.
Well, it's mostly ketchup. And then, there's a lot of brown sugar in there. Quite a bit of mustard powder, actually. I think that's one of the more defining ingredients. Honestly, off the top of my head, I don't remember all of it. But besides those things, it's just a little bit of a couple other things.
It's a secret.
Honestly, I'll find the recipe and you can post it if you want. I just don't remember off the top of my head. I followed the recipe yesterday.
All right.
All right.
It's been another hour, so the maple brown sugar jerky is ready to go. And we're gonna do up our next batch, put it in. And the next one should go faster because it won't have any sugar in it like this one did. There you have it. I patted some of the extra grease off it, and now they're just cooling down. And somebody really wants them. But don't those look great? Oh, these are gonna be so good. All right, let's get the spicy teriyaki stuff together. We're finally on to the spicy teriyaki mix. So again, we have 2 pounds of ground beef. We're gonna do, for this one, I do about half a teaspoon of Prague powder, even though there is other salts in this. And you don't have to use that. You can use just regular like kosher salt, just not iodized salt. We're gonna do 1/4 cup of soy sauce. Okay. Should I got all my caps off of here, jeez. For a cup of teriyaki. Okay, we're gonna do just a splash of mirin, which is sweetened sake. Just a little bit more. A little bit of rice vinegar. All right, and then I'm just kind of winging it on the seasonings. We have ginger. This is our garlic powder. Dehydrated a bunch of garlic and just blended it up. This is garlic powder. This stuff is strong. And then I just have red pepper flakes. I'm gonna take the top off this. Get a good amount in there, make this really spicy. That's probably about 1/4 cup worth. Gregory, that enough red pepper for
yeah,
you?
that's plenty.
Plenty. All right. Ooh, I can smell it from here. Okay. Just like last time, we're just gonna mix it up. The sauces are gonna add a little bit more moisture to this, but they all generally have a lot of salt in them. Plus we added the frog powder. So it's gonna be a little bit different than when we did the maple. Ew. Put gloves on both hands. Again, we're just gonna mix this up. We're gonna roll them out. Get them cut up on the trays in the dehydrator for another 4 or 5 hours. This one I'm thinking will take 4 or 5 hours rather than the 5 or 6 the other one took. Just because there's a lot more salt in here. It's looking pretty good. Yeah. Nice color, nice distribution of everything in there. Let me get this cleaned up. We're gonna put it in the dehydrator.
It's getting dark, but we're sitting pretty, it looks like it's about 250, but still in the ballpark. I don't go crazy over temperature as long as it's in range. All right, so these have been in here for a little over an hour now. And they're gonna be really, really tender, so I'm just gonna stick them in here for another, I'm gonna do a half hour and make sure they look good. Get them a little crisped up on the outside. Ideally, you want them to be, so what we're going for here is to have them be crispy on the outside, but still really fall off the bone kind of texture.
It's hard to see on camera, but they have really good color to them. Oh, if you step this way, I can get them in the light. There you go. Look at those beauts. So they're just another 30 minutes?
That's what I'm gonna give them for now, and then see what they look like. Go from there.
Okay. We got our teriyaki strips ready to go. So same thing, we do 165. I'll do 4 hours and see where we're at that point.
These just came off the grill. They look to me like they had kind of gotten a little bit of that outer bark, but definitely still pretty juicy. So these are pretty much good to go at this point. I'm gonna cut into them now. Well, here we go. Look nice. Nice and pink, still juicy. Got a nice bark on the outside.
Does look quite nice.
These are gonna be fun to eat.
Yeah. Juicy. Wanna try one?
Good amount of smoky, tender, still very juicy, very good.
Greg put some barbecue sauce on there. They made corn muffins and some beans. I'd say that's a good dinner. We had a pretty long but productive day today. I wanted to come and see you one last time because the teriyaki jerky is ready to go. It was really good. It's decently spicy without being overwhelming. It has a really full-bodied flavor. But I'm just pressing the extra grease off it so you don't get any extra grease, I guess, in storage. But it's really crispy. This finished at exactly 4 hours. Let me give you a close-up. So you know your jerky's done. You can bend it. You see how it bend there. It cracks, but it doesn't snap. That's perfect. This has a really good color to it. So I'm gonna pull out, I'm gonna take care of this, let it cool down. I'm gonna pull out all three and show you what it looks like. Here's all three of them together. This is the test batch honey mustard. It's actually the only one that does not have coffee powder in it. Maple brown sugar and spicy teriyaki. So we actually, in each of these, we got more. We're giving away some. Flavors are all good. I think the strongest flavor is this one. So we put our seasonings in it. But yeah, this is all really easy to make. The spicy teriyaki finished at exactly 4 hours. This one finished at about 4 hours. And this one finished at about 5 hours, 5 to 6 hours. And I think that's just because it had the sugar in it. But yeah, really easy to do. And it'll last a while.
Thanks for hanging out, everyone. Have a good night.